If you watched our last video, we told you we would next bring you with us while we make several upgrades to our RV's solar power capabilities. These upgrades are driven by our upcoming travel plans for this year, during which we visit several incredible but very remote locations. The campsites we will stay at are primitive and do not offer power. As a result, we have chosen to upgrade several components that enable us to produce and store our own power. Within this video, we discuss the different types of solar panels and the characteristics of each that are pertinent to RVs. We also detail the different ways to wire solar panels into an array, plus we contrast the cost and performance of each pattern. We also touch upon some of the specific nuances of this install that is unique to our Brinkley RV. If you are watching this video, I have no doubt that you have seen and know what a typical solar panel looks like. You've seen them in houses and in fields along highways. What you may not know is that there are different types of panels, and we will name the kinds that are appropriate for RV use and touch upon their specific characteristics. Lastly, we include you as we go through the install. Okay, let's kick this off. The majority of what is installed in RVs is the monocrystalline panel due to its generally higher efficiency, producing more power for the space they occupy. The second type and similar in appearance is the polycrystalline panel. This is slightly less expensive and slightly lower in efficiency. A more recent introduction is the thin film solar panel, which is flexible and is chosen where the amount of flat space is limited, preventing use of the prior two. As is typical with electronic components today, prices are decreasing while the output capacity is increasing. 400 and 500 watt panels are now common. Costs will vary by vendor and efficiency, but a sweet spot price point seems to be around 400 watts for around $275. A solar panel's output is positive DC voltage. Thus, positive current is from negative to positive, making the positive terminal the output. The choice of solar panel electrical topology is to place them into either a series or parallel configuration. In series, the panels feed output from one into the next. This topology results in the total voltage of each panel being additive, and the current restricted across all of them to the lowest performing panel. In contrast, a parallel design is created by connecting all the panels' inputs together as well as joining all their outputs together. In this topology, the voltage across each is set to the lowest producing panel. However, the current produced by each panel is not limited, and the total current of each is aggregated. The outputs of both designs feed into a controlling device, which is typically an MPPT device. As shown, the output of both designs calculates to 324 watts. The example is shown with identical panel voltages and currents and might reflect using 3 identical panels. In practice, the series topology will have slightly different voltages, but the current has to be identical. The parallel pattern will see the opposite. The voltages will be identical, but the current will vary. This is significant to note as shading a panel will result in lower output for that panel. The impact of shading on a serial topology is significant. As you can see, even partial shading of a single panel can lower total output by 85%. In contrast, the same degree of shading of a parallel topology reduces output by 1/3. This is a significant difference. In a perfect location, absent shading, the configurations of using the same panels produce the same results. However, generally a parallel configuration is more efficient with one main caveat. Generally, parallel installations require increasing both the wire current capacity plus more wires used. Recall from our prior diagram where all the panels feed back to a Y connector. The greater the number of panels, generally, the longer these runs become. These two factors lead to both greater cost and potentially some loss within the wires. Unmentioned here is that most RV manufacturers pre-install solar today, and they use 10-gauge wire between the roof and the solar controller. Upgrading this wire means completely replacing it, which typically involves cutting a new hole into the roof. In summary, the most common choice is the monocrystalline panel, followed by the thin film panel. Monocrystalline are cheaper and have greater capacity for the space they consume. So why would you choose thin film? First off, it is easier to install, and it doesn't require drilling into the roof. But first and foremost, it might be your only option when you have only curved space available. The full set of activities that we will perform includes: number 1, add a second solar panel; number 2, add a circuit breaker; number 3, reconfigure the solar controller; and lastly, number 4, replace the battery bank with a new set of batteries. The end result will double our solar capacity to around 800 watts and increase our battery capacity from 200 amp hours to 900 amp hours. This upgrade should double our battery charge rate to a perfect scenario calculated rate of 66.7 amp hours per hour. So the first thing we're going to do is open it up and check that the panel's working right.
Yes.
All right, so we do that through two ways. Through open current and voltage. Now it's a little cloudy, so it won't hit its peak numbers. For the most part, the installation is a single-person job, but raising the panels onto the roof requires 2 people. Although the panels aren't heavy, they're about 50 pounds, they are quite large. Have someone on the ground raise the panel up to a person that is on the roof. A critical data point is the open circuit voltage and current characteristics. These are found on a label, which is typically on the back of the panel. All right, so 410 watts, plus or minus 3%. Open voltage is 37. And open current is 13.24. So 37 and 13.24. Let me take a picture so we remember.
Mm-hmm.
Part of being old is forgetting. Part of being senile is not knowing you're old. Shown is the open circuit values. We look for these values when testing that the panel works. In contrast, the VMP and IMP values are the panel's maximum voltage and current values when under load. See how we did. All right, legible. All right, swing a little bit. Let's cut the cables loose. Panels will come with around 6 to 10 feet of cable, and the cables will have MC4 connectors. Negative will be a female plug, and the male plug is the positive output. The next step is to test that the panels work. You don't uninstall a panel and then find that it doesn't work. Test it first. The minute the panel is exposed to sunlight, it will conduct. To test the panel, place it face up to the sunlight and read the voltage and current values across the panel leads with a multimeter. The voltage you read should be close to VOC. The current will be something less than IOC. Peak current only occurs when sunlight is exactly perpendicular to the panel. Peak current occurs during the midday hours and on cloudless days. We got almost no sun. 33 volts. That's great. What's that?
So if it shocks me, I'm letting it go.
No, it won't shock you. All right. So for current, you got to actually measure current passing through it. So that's a different plug-in for the meter. Current will pass through the meter. You can actually hear it spark when I connect the meter probes to the plugs. All right. Got to go to current. 0.5 amp. Again, there's like no sun, so can't really tell. But either way, it is working. I wish we had more sun. If we had a good full sun over the top of it, we should see those max values. All right. To read the test values, any multimeter will work. However, to read current, you will need to move the meter lead from the volts to the current plug as shown. Next step, we're going to mount the brackets to it. When you install the panels, you raise them several inches off the roof. This allows air to pass under them, which keeps them cooler. The panel's performance do degrade under high temperatures, thus keeping them cool is an important factor to consider. I have chosen a mounting bracket that is typically used with rails. I like these brackets over fixed ones because I can gain access to the underside of the panel without removing the screws that secure the brackets to the roof.
So the reason I picked these, again, see they're hinged. So now we can actually go under this after it's installed, and by loosening the hinges, which are exposed, we can actually move it. Whereas the other hinges are fixed, and I can't make changes or clean under them at a later time. They will be. So I'm going to leave them loose to the last minute. All right, next side.
Okay.
Our RV is a Brinkley Model Z. Although it comes with a solar panel, Brinkley expects that owners will add additional panels, and they have thickened the roof in strategic locations in preparation for this. The purple lines shown here are where extra wood is placed. This is where we aim to place the panel's mounting brackets. With the new panel now secured to the roof, it's time to insert the panel into the existing solar wire plant. Recall our prior discussion on the two electrical topology patterns. For this install, we will connect the panel as a parallel configuration. We make this choice based upon the existing panels and the new panel's maximum operating voltage and current. The two panels have nearly identical operating voltages, and the maximum current outputs added together will not exceed 20 amps. This is important as the wire size we connect to that feeds down to the controller is capable of handling up to 30 amps. We are well within safe operating parameters. To make this connection, we insert two Y cables, one at each point where the existing panel leads connect to the cables exiting the rooftop junction box. After a quick check using my DMM to ensure that I have the proper polarity, I connect the positive leads using a red Y cable and connect the negative leads using a black Y cable. To separate the existing cables, you need a specialized tool to decouple the MC4 connectors. The spanner tool, shown here, is included within a solar connector kit.
So unfortunately, when I finished building and took a look at the cameras, I noticed that the batteries had died on the video, so you didn't actually see some of the ending configuration and setup that I had done. But this is how the configuration looks now that it's completed. You can see it aligns to the positioning that the manufacturer, Brinkley, suggests for tying into the additional reinforcement that they have going across the roof to secure the bolts. The other thing I want to show you while we're up here is this is the weather head, and these were the Ys that we added in, and they basically are secured at this point. This weather head feeds down into the RV and actually goes all the way to the front compartment where it feeds into the MPPT controller.
I do want to clarify one point. Frequently, when the topic of adding solar is discussed, it is really talking about adding an inverter for the purpose of supplying AC voltage when not connected to shore power. In this video, I am only discussing adding additional solar power for the purpose of supplying more power to our battery bank. While we do add a Victron inverter to our RV, this is a very different kind of install, and I don't cover any of the work that I performed in making this change. Having said that, the heart of both our solar installation and of a working inverter setup is the battery bank. Besides enhancing our solar, we also swap out the battery bank that came with our RV. Prior batteries provided only 200 amp hours of power, and I have replaced those batteries with a set of 3 LiPo batteries that provide 900 amp hours of residual capacity. So when I was building out the system, the batteries on all my cameras died. This is kind of post-installation. So some of what I'm going to show you is modified from what was originally there. But the wires on the roof coming from the weatherhead that I showed you, they come down to the RV and into the front compartment. These are the wires. You'll see a red and a white. They feed into what I have added, which is a circuit breaker. Normally that would have fed through straight to the MPPT controller, which is right here. This is a Furrion. It's capable of handling 2 panels. That's 800 watts up on the roof. It originally would have fed straight down to the battery bank, which is down here. I have it coming down to a Lynx distribution bus. Again, this is modified. This is not default. The distribution bus then feeds down to the batteries. The addition of the circuit breaker is so that I can turn this off and affect some service to the system. Let's say I want to work on the batteries or something like that. I want to remove the power coming from the MPPT controller so that I can work on it without DC present in the system. And in order to do that, I can actually use that circuit breaker to turn off the power coming from the solar panel so that the MPPT controller has nothing feeding it, and it in turn will pass no DC power or current onto the battery bank. The other switch, this is enlarged from the original switch, but this is just a DC master on-off switch that turns off DC to the entire unit. And in order to have everything turn off, I also need to turn off that circuit breaker. All right, so that's the setup. And again, that is being fed by the solar panels on the roof, and the weatherhead feeds down into this wire. And that wire is default. I haven't added that. That came with the unit. We are very appreciative that you have taken the time to watch our video. Please feel free to reach out to us either through YouTube or through our website found in KenandPatty'sTravels.com. We hope you liked the video. In any case, we do appreciate your feedback. If you did like the video, please hit the like button, and we really hope that you choose to subscribe to our channel. Your feedback motivates me to put out more of these videos. Speaking of videos, our next video, we will again be on the road, making our way to our friends in Michigan.